Okay, let's do this. Jog 3 miles before breakfast. Make it to work by 9. Run out for a salad at lunch. Oh, time to own that meeting at 3. Yes, 10,000 steps. What's next?
Fearless is not hitting snooze. That's the power of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Federal Employee Program. With more healthy benefits and tools, no one does more to help you live fearless. Sign up at fepblue.org/action by December 14th.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, you are now tuned in to 110 Sports Talk. I go by the name Lynn Knight. Hey,
it's the best.
Running through the competition, no competition. You don't believe it, time to stop. Sit back and listen. We bringing you the stats, all the breaking news and facts. Want the latest on the biggest trade, well this is where it's at. We don't talk it, boy, we live it, got that all around coverage. From track and field, you name a field, we got it all covered. No diss to Derrick Rose, but we don't talk that bull. Just wait till he get healthy, better watch out for them bulls. Slide over the hockey, shout out to the Kings. Salute to LeBron James, y'all both got y'all rings. Looking for the real, you tune into the best. The sportologist and Mr. CJ Sports is up next.
I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports. You can follow me at CJ Sports 1. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. You can also follow my co-host tonight, Shorty, at Aaron, that's ERIN_Anglin, ANGLIN. How are you doing tonight, Shorty?
Well, I've had a pretty amazing day, so I'm doing pretty well.
Amazing. What was so amazing about today?
I don't know, it was just a good day.
Was it?
Yeah.
Must be nice to have the day off.
You get 2 days off. I get 2 days off.
Yeah, but that's what makes today amazing is you're off. Now, tomorrow is probably going to be an amazing day for me.
It's probably going to suck for me.
Who knows? We got 2 great guests tonight.
We do.
Excited?
I'm getting there.
You're getting there. One of them, I don't know if you've ever heard one of them, and you got to meet the other one already in person, so definitely excited about that. We got Kim Scheffler, former PR over at Dylan Martin Racing, former race car driver herself. We Miss Shorty here and myself and family got to meet Miss Kim down at Daytona while we was at the Coke 0400 last year. We dropped off some, the intentions were to drop off some soda tabs off the cans, but we didn't end up doing that. Well, actually, my brother did it later on for us, but we got the opportunity to meet her at the Coke 0400, so that was really cool. And then we got Hannah Newhouse from Hannah Newhouse Racing, the Boise State driver we've had on multiple times, adding a little bit more to her resume, doing some coverage for the KN Pro Series, East and West. Seen a lot of tracks that I heard she put on her Facebook page that she's going to be traveling to, so I know she's got to be excited about that.
I'd be excited about that.
And she got a new job.
It's always good to get a new job, especially one that you like.
Yeah, I hope she likes it. She's working at Gold's Gym now, so not only you make a little money, but you get to help keep yourself in physical condition for racing. I mean, that's got to be cool. That's got to be fun, and a way to network. So, looking forward to having both of them on here tonight and talk to both of them. Both of them kind of familiar faces. One of them's first time it's on the show, and the other one's a multi-returner to the show. So, it's going to look good to that. Ms. Lee got some good news today. I know she was excited about that.
Oh, yes. The Mid-Ohio?
Yeah, Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, the Mid-Ohio race was approved to cover that on media.
It's
her and her husband.
Her and her husband. So they get to do the same thing that Shorty and I got to do, go down there, be together, and do media. And they were going to the race anyway. That was all in the plans anyway. But we decided to see if we could get them into the Mid-Ohio race as media, and thank NASCAR, and not this weekend, but next weekend. So gotta be thankful to NASCAR for allowing, and the good people over in Mid-Ohio for approving and allowing them in there. So that's cool, and glad to not only glad for Miss Lee, because for those that don't know a lot about Miss Lee, she's been with me, I would say, close to 2 years at this point. It seems that she came on right about the time that the separation happened, and she stuck by my side and was there. And then once we got re-going at the beginning of 2014, she was there in full effect. So I think we're coming up on about 2 years at this point. And so it's really cool to be able to have the opportunity to get her in a race and be media and get to do what I've gotten to do about 20 times. And, and the first time we actually met face-to-face, I was doing media at the Kentucky track, and they were out there, her and her husband, and got to hang out with them for a while. So I just think it's really cool that we're finally getting to a point that not only am I able to enjoy kind of the benefits of what we do, but I'm able to share that with our help. And I don't like using the words employees, because Miss Lee has proven over and over she's more than just an employee. But it's good to have the opportunity to be able to share that, and her be able to enjoy that. And not only that, but I know her husband sacrifices a lot of time and a lot of honey time, I think is the word I use, when I talked to her earlier today. And I'm not going to say lets her, like she's got to have permission, but, compromises and gives and takes in a relationship. And she, I don't like using the word lets, but lets her do it. And lets her do and enjoy what she does, and not give her a hard time and everything else, and it's great. And that's a marriage. And Shorty and I, in the relationship that we're in, she lets me do it. Not that the word "let" is a good word, but there's a lot of give and take. And fortunately for me, Shorty has gotten very involved. She does the shows with us now, and she's got to go with us to Kentucky when we went a few weeks ago, and it looks like I think in the next day or two we will get our approval for Bristol. It's already been processed, and I've seen things change on the site, so I'm very confident that we're going to be approved for Bristol. Unfortunately, unless she can find a way to get out of Saturday, she's only going to be able to go to one of the races. But it's one of those tracks, and I was talking to her earlier today, and one of those tracks that I'm willing to do the drive there, drive back, drive there, drive back, so she has the opportunity to go to Bristol. Bristol's a whole different creature itself. It's one-of-a-kind kind of tracks. It's different. The action's different. The garage area, well, you can't even call it a garage area. The infield, they got enough for the trucks, and that's it. That's it. When you get down there, you're going to be blown away by what you see. Not only in the infield, all you got is their semi trucks down there, and that's all there is. To the fact that if you're standing in turn 3 and 4, or 1 and 2 in the infield, the cars are just like going at eye level because of the banking, and it's just mind blowing. And the fact that you can walk around the infield very quickly. I mean, it's only a half-a-mile track, so
I'm definitely calling in sick.
After you go Friday night for the Xfinity Series race, you're probably going to highly want to not go to work Saturday.
Oh, I plan on not being there Saturday.
Well, in that case, we might have to look into getting a hotel here soon, or see how close Ohio is again, and see if we can make a trip home to see the family again on a Friday or Saturday night.
What?
Tennessee, but actually, I know it's going to be too far because Bristol is, from where we're at, is just on the other side of the Tennessee border. So as soon as you get into Tennessee, Kentucky was like an 8-hour drive, and Kentucky's above Tennessee, so yeah.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's clear across in the west.
So, how long did that take?
I don't know. I've never been to Oklahoma. I have no purpose to being in Oklahoma.
Wow.
What's in Oklahoma?
My family.
What family?
Okay. Anyways, back to the show.
I have family. Your family that I've met is all right here. It's not relevant.
Not relevant to the show.
Not relevant to the show. But you'll be blown away by what you see in Bristol. So we should get word on that. But back to the whole Miss Lee thing. It's just cool. It's a standalone track. She'll get to do something that she's been interested in doing it and help kind of expand her resume. And they get to spend the time together and do a different experience together as well. So I think it's really cool, and I'm glad that, like I said, I'm glad that NASCAR recognizes that our presence at their tracks is a big deal, and so it's really cool that they approve us for all these tracks and everything, and working on a few other things. Definitely going to work on trying to hook Izzo up, our NHL experts, with the Carolina Hurricanes, and see what we can do about getting him into some of that. So definitely looking forward to that. So Miss Lee says she loves the Mid-Ohio great racing. So I'll definitely be watching the Mid-Ohio race, and I'll definitely be seeing if I can see Miss Lee. I see if I see her and her husband running around out there and down pit road and everything else. But cool time, fun time. Thank you, NASCAR. Thank you, Mid-Ohio. Anything else? Before I get into my first topic of the night, is she's got a mouth full of Snickers. Trying to make sure she's not a diva on tonight's show. Believe me that way. Don't you ever watch the Snickers commercials? You were just talking about being hungry. And make sure you're not a diva on the show. Tom Brady dishes on Peyton Manning and 800 or 8,500 pool cover and emails. I really care less about the pool cover situation. But emails have surfaced from Tom Brady because of this whole investigation. Brings me back to my point originally. I wouldn't want people going through my cell phone, and if he crushed his phone for any purpose at all, I don't blame him. And this is exactly why. Because people decided to take it upon themselves to make his personal emails public record now. Now, granted, it's entertaining because it's Tom Brady talking about Peyton Manning in one of the emails, talking about he's got Tom Brady feels he's got another 7 to 8 years in the league, and that Peyton Manning's only got 2. But it should make things interesting for the Denver and New England Patriots matchups and rivalry. And I hope we get to see both of these teams in the playoffs and play each other in the playoffs. I think it'll make for really a big excitement in one hell of a playoff game. But this is exactly my concerns and my issues about the cell phone and personal information and them feeling that they have the right to search this stuff.
I'm a little confused as to how they got Peyton Manning out of all.
I'm sure there was more, too. There was more emails. I think they just showed the one that was concerned, him talking about he feels he has 7 to 8 more years, and Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
I'm sure there was prior emails that had dropped his actual name. Because I saw this earlier on ESPN, I think on Sports, it was talking about on Sports Nation as well. So that there obviously there's prior emails that bring it, that he talks about Peyton Manning's name.
To me right now is all speculation because there's no proof that he was talking about Peyton Manning in any of these emails.
That's just because the emails they posted, because that's him talking garbage. Like I said, multiple sources have said the same thing. So obviously there are prior emails.
Or there's just somebody who leaked a really good fake story.
Right. That's his email.
Okay, how do you know his emails? I can type up a piece of paper that says, from Tom Brady to Kevin Brady, November 1st, 2014.
If it was fake, I believe that Tom Brady would have been on TV with the news press conference saying, those are not my emails.
Oh, I doubt it.
And this has been going on all day long, so obviously these are legitimate emails.
Me, I feel like this is just speculation.
Speculation.
Ooh.
Speculation. So that kind of brings me to a point. How far should an employer be allowed to go in your personal business?
I don't feel like they're allowed to be in your personal business at all. Like, I got in trouble one time because I was asking one of my employees to babysit.
Now,
fraternizing with your employees.
Now, say you had a job.
I'm
saying, and make multi-million-dollars a year.
I do not
and you know that 4 weeks you're going to be sitting out and lose millions of dollars because you're not going to be playing these games. But knowing the emails, and me knowing the emails that you have in your email account, would you sacrifice those up to make sure that you didn't lose those millions of dollars, or would you just suck up already having millions of dollars in your pocket and married to a multimillionaire model? Would you just suck it up and go on?
Yeah. I already have money. Why do I mean, unless you're a money-hungry, greedy.
I mean, you got an $8,500 pool cover, according to one of those emails, so obviously they blow money like there's no tomorrow. Or that's just one hell of a pool, or one hell of a pool cover. I don't know. I couldn't imagine paying $8,500 for a pool cover.
Definitely not.
But this was just a prime example of why I had an issue with they trying to hold a broken phone and then not be able to read text message an issue, because you don't know the conversations that he had, regardless if it had to do with the Deflategate or not, what he discussed with his wife, what pictures he had of his wife, what pictures he had of a secret lover. Who knows? I'm not accusing him of cheating on his wife, but I'm just saying, you don't know. There could be multiple things. There could be personal things, personal conversations from his mother, personal conversations from other family members, whatever the case may be. That it's nobody's business. And obviously, no matter what the scenario is, this stuff gets released. So there could have been multiple text messages or personal text messages out there that was nobody's business, that if they would have listened to his phone, obviously would have been leaked and would have been made public. So I have no problem with Tom Brady destroying the phone, regardless if there was proof or no proof on it, because that's personal stuff. And this is a prime example why I wouldn't give that information up.
All very true, but I don't know if these are his emails.
What?
If these are even his emails.
You're back on this. You don't know if they're his emails.
No, I'm not back on this. I'm still on this. You argued with me the other day about speculation.
It's all speculation. All speculation.
But still, I mean, I understand emails that might have pertained to the case being,
leaked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put
this has nothing to do with
public record, but Peyton Manning had nothing to do with this case. So why are emails being leaked with Peyton Manning's name? Well, without Peyton Manning's name, obviously.
I think this is interesting. The Baltimore Ravens are still trying. Well, now they're trying to deny. They tipped off the Colts about Patriots' deflated balls. Among the items released Tuesday as part of Tom Brady's appeals transcript as he fought his 4-game suspension was an email from the Indianapolis Colts that seemingly said Ravens special team coach Jerry Rossberg called Coach Chuck Picano to alert him the condition of the kicking, quote-unquote, footballs in New England. That was reported by the Baltimore Sun, among other outlets. That was interpreted as the Ravens tipping off the Colts about deflated balls, and away we go with Deflategate.
Wow.
I don't know how many other ways I can say this, but Baltimore and Indianapolis really just need to get over the fact that you got your asses handed to you by the Indianapolis Colts. There's really no other way to twist this. By the New England Patriots, yes.
Yeah.
The Colts and the Ravens need to get over they got their asses handed to them. I am so tired of hearing it, man. I had to listen to Coach Harbaugh earlier give his press conference, basically trying to reassure everybody that that the Colts and the Ravens did have those kind of conversations. And I got you, Miss Lee. And try to reassure everybody that this is all basically a decoy to draw attention from the Deflategate, which this was the same conversations we had that the Ravens tipped off the Colts when this all started. This is not even fresh information. This is information that was already released, and the more the Colts and the more the Ravens even speak and talk about this, the more and more that it really irks me off that you got two teams that are basically acting like little 4-year-old girls and sitting there and pouting and crying and whining about everything. You had your butt handed to you. It was what it was. Get over it.
Well, according to the Ravens.
One of the butthurt teams. Go ahead.
One of the butthurt teams, the assistant head coach, Jerry Rothberg, on or about January 12th, 2015, Chuck Picano called me to ask about a punt field goal substitution that New England used against the Ravens in the divisional game. At the 10:55 mark on the second quarter of the 34-yard line, the New England sent its place kicker onto the field with a field goal unit. This caused us to defend the punt with our field goal block team. The play was blown dead by the officials because the New England Patriots were penalized for the delay of the game. There was no conversation regarding the football. This is what he is defending. They did not. It was nothing about the Playgate, according to his.
That's what he said, but this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about transcripts of the emails that was sent from Indianapolis Colts that seemingly said. So, regardless of what the coach said, the email says otherwise.
Where's the email? This is all speculation.
We're back on the speculation word. I don't care what John Harbaugh had to say. I've been consistent from the beginning when asked about whether the Ravens tipped off the Colts about the Deflategate, and I'll say it again, we didn't. We knew nothing about deflated balls. I obviously know a little about deflated balls because your ball shriveled up when you guys played the New England Patriots because there's a reason why the Patriots are the Super Bowl champions.
Here's a text from Randy Brown to Coach
Picano.
Since January 16, 2015. Make sure the refs rotate the kicking balls because last week they wouldn't let our balls in the game. Their ball was done so poorly that it was nearly impossible to kick off deep. It was hard and not working well at all. Let Tom know he can call me at any time. So, I mean, Yeah, that was the text.
That they tipped off the Colts. So, I mean, how can they say they didn't when, according to Brady, there's emails, and now we got text messages, but because John Harbaugh says no, we're supposed to believe no? These two teams need to get together and just have a pity party. And just cry it out. Let bygones be bygones. Let the Mayflower movement be over with when Baltimore backed everything up and went to Indianapolis. And the bygones, let that water be under the bridge, and you guys sit there and each of y'all get a corner and put your thumbs in your mouth and get the tears out of the way and just get past the fact that the New England Patriots beat y'all and they are the defending champions.
Well,
What?
well, never mind.
Well, never mind. There's nothing else to say about it.
Well, they had a little concern in the regular season game, that the balls were a little soft when they picked off the pass. So
they always have a little concern. They have a concern every time they get beat by the New England Patriots.
I understand.
Everybody has a little concern. The concern should be more that they're not prepared enough to beat the New England Patriots. The concern should be that they just weren't prepared. You were talking about something wrong.
No, I was good. You're good.
I'm good.
I didn't need that.
What? Picked up 2 passes, and the Colts staff thought they felt soft. How does the staff even know? I don't know. Like I said,
the story, it was supposed to be, it was supposed to be, we got done with, and somehow it just keeps getting, juicier and juicier.
It's sad because there's going to be 2 headlines all year long that we're going to be stuck talking about when it comes to the NFL. The unfortunate parts, we're going to be talking about the Deflategate all year long.
Mm-hmm.
And then, unfortunately, as this has been the center focus at training camp for the Seattle Seahawks, we're going to be focused on talking about the contracts and the money situation, as now Chancellor, who is in contract with 2017, wants to get paid even more money and is not showing up. Now the Seattle Seahawks are starting to find themselves in a predicament because now that they've decided that they're going to cave in and start letting the players run how things are going to be done, now all your players are starting to say, you know what, we're not playing until we get even a better contract, and you're eventually going to run out of space. You're going to eventually run out of salary cap. You're going to eventually run out of money, and now these players don't understand this. And yes, you've enjoyed going to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl. You enjoyed going to the Super Bowl. You didn't maybe enjoy losing it, but you enjoyed going to 2 Super Bowls, and you enjoyed being the most dominant team in the West. All that's about to change because you can't pay everybody. You can't. You don't have enough salary cap to give everybody what they want. Eventually, somebody's going to get butthurt. You've already had some casualties. You've already lost some players because you can't afford to get them, so you cut them. But unfortunately, that's kind of going to be the 2 topics that we're going to end up being stuck on most of the year when it comes to the NFL. It is Deflategate and salary cap space for the Seattle Seahawks and the greediness of the players from the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to toss in and throw in a little Chip Kelly and whether or not he's racist or not. There's, of course, where the Tim Tebow possibly making the Philadelphia Eagles. If he makes it, that's going to be a little salt pepper thrown on there as well, especially if you actually see some playing time. And we might get 1 or 2 other minor stories that we'll be able to shake a little garlic maybe into that as well. But unfortunately, the meat potatoes of this year is going to be probably more than likely focused on the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots, which ironically enough, that was your 2 Super Bowl teams. But that's what it's going to be focused around, but not for the right reasons.
it would just be something we don't have to wait to see on.
It's sad.
It is?
It's very sad.
It's very sad.
Don't forget, tomorrow night, the return of Racing with Big Sweat. Thursday nights, cannot miss it. Show starts off at 9 o'clock. Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina listening to the highly rated radio podcast show, Racing with Big Sweat. 9 o'clock, the show kicks off. Tonight's panel, Big Sweat, Mr. CJ Sports, and Chris Yellow, Caution Flag, Creighton. And this week's guests, Asphalt Modified driver Danny Bond and Asphalt Late Model driver Wayne Goss will be on the show. So excited about having both those drivers. I'm excited about having the opportunity of being on the show with Steve Billmeyer and Chris Creighton, both very knowledgeable guys, both great guys, and of course Steve is. Been around 25-plus years, worked at Henry Motorsport, crew chief Jeff O'Nine. I mean, Tim Richmond. Can you imagine Tim Richmond in the day, but getting to be around him? I have not asked him yet. I don't want to ask him, but I can imagine what the party scene was like and hanging out. I mean, I'm sure that had to be a blast. As Tim Richmond was definitely a fun guy to be around. So definitely, I can only imagine what it's like to be around a driver like that in the lifestyle that he led. Don't forget tonight we got Kim Scheffler joining us, and we got Hannah Newhouse at 10 o'clock. As a matter of fact, we got Kim in the studio. Like I said, last year at the Coke 0400, we had the opportunity to get to actually meet her. Had a fun time. It was great to be able to meet the nice ladies that we've had the opportunity to cross emails and pass Facebook comments to each other and have messages back and forth. So definitely excited about having her on the show and getting to know her a little bit better and in some aspects on a different level. Didn't quite realize there was such a didn't know that there was such an extensive racing career behind all this. I just thought she was a PR lady, and that was kind of the end of what I thought it was. So excited about having her on the show and being able to talk to her. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get Kim on the show. Kim, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing fine. I'm excited about having you on the show. It's been a while since we've talked. Definitely enjoyed the fact that I got to meet you in person last year. I get to talk about that all the time. It's really cool. It's cool when you get to put faces and people to the people you meet on Facebook or meet through emails and everything else. It was really cool to be able to meet you last year. Before we jump into everything, as you know, because I know you've caught the show very, very numerous times, I want to give you an opportunity to plug anything you want to plug. Is the social media, websites, anything that you got going on. We go ahead and get that knocked out before, just in case we miss it at the end.
Well, I do a lot with the Cars kids. So their website is carsevents.com. And, of course, that has a lot of the stuff that we do with all the different charities with those three kids that we're raising money for this year. And then my Facebook is just Kim Scheffler. So if you want to hit me up on there, that'd be great. I have a website, but it has not been updated since my last race. So there's not a lot. I mean, there's all the past stuff's on there, but not any of the new stuff on there. And that's kimscheffler.com.
Now, I knew you or knew of you, and I know Miss Lee did most of the conversing, I guess is the word I'm looking for, because I know that I use conversating too many ways than I'm supposed to. But I just knew you as a PR lady. I did not know that there was such an extensive background in racing. What got you into racing, and at what age did you get into racing?
I was a late bloomer. I come from a racing family. My dad did not race, but I have a great uncle that had a motorcycle track, motocross track up in Michigan that my dad announced that, so I spent the weekends there with my family. I have uncles that race late models. I have another uncle that builds and did drag racing. So I was around it growing up, but just never thought about getting behind the wheel myself. And my younger brother, he's 10 years younger than me, and he had gone through, doing the BMX bikes into the go-karts and then motocross, got hurt. Mom said no more, so he decided to get into car racing, stock car racing. And I had followed him, and during that, and it was probably about 6-7 months or something like that into his career, he went down to Punta Gorda on New Year's Eve to race a bunch of specialty races. And I was there just, spectating, watching, cheering him on. And they happened to have a race that night that had to be run half by a girl, half by a guy. So he's like, hey, you got to race this race with me. And I'm like, I've never raced before in my life. He's like, oh, no, it's really easy. Just get in, go fast, turn left. Well, there's a little bit more to it, I can tell you that, but I enjoyed it. We actually won our first race together, and, the bug had bit me, and I was ready to go. We came back. A couple months later, he had moved into a Sportsman, like a late model kind of car. And his old V8 Pure Stock was sitting there, and I asked him if I could take it out to Auburndale, which is a quarter-mile local track here that he had run. And he was like, yeah, and a friend of mine happened to be over that night, and he had an old fire suit that he gave me, and I actually had to duct tape the knees shut on it because it was so worn out. I grabbed my dad's welding gloves and my brother's motocross helmet, and that's how way I went. That's how I got started.
Now, when you started, the scene was a lot different. Let me say that. In my eyes, it was a lot different. Now, you being a driver back then, it might not have been as different as what I'm visualizing. But what I'm going at this with is we didn't have all the female drivers that, at least that I was public about. We didn't have the Danikas, the Johanna Longs, the Joe Cobbs. All the drivers we see now, necessarily more in the spotlight anyway. It's a lot more difficult when you was trying to have your race career versus what it is now, and what was some of the obstacles, if it was, that you had to overcome to be able to do it as long as you did?
Well, my first race was almost 20 years ago, so it has changed a little bit as far as there obviously are more females in different levels of racing now. So I'm hoping that obviously has helped quite a bit. But when I first started racing, the first probably 6 months I raced at our local track here, I spent more time just trying to stay on the racetrack than I did racing, because those boys were doing some serious initiating, that's for sure. But you can let it break you or you can learn from it. And I just learned, it just seemed like it helped me learn quicker how to handle the car, what to expect, how to handle spins, more, better car control. So it actually, to me, sort of a crazy way, I appreciated it because it made me a better driver quite quickly, But I've gone to some, I raced out in Texas, and when I first got there, I was the only female in that series out of 200 and some drivers in the United States. So when I went out to Texas, first of all, I was a Florida girl, which they didn't like that very much. And then I was just a girl. So no one spoke to me. Like, I had no one say hi, welcome, thanks for driving all this way, nothing. It was quite cold, but we ended up qualifying fourth, and we finished second that night. And it was pretty cool because every driver came through tech while we were in tech and shook my hand. So, a lot of it just has to do with rookie status, too. If you're a rookie in a new series, guy or girl, young or old, you're always going to have that initiation process. They're going to have to find out what kind of driver, why are you out there, what are you trying to prove? Are you there to race? Are you there to cause problems? And I'm not. As soon as the guys started racing with me, I gained the respect, after I started racing with them for the fact of I wasn't out there to prove a point. I wasn't out there to prove that I'm a better driver than guys. I just wanted to race, and there are no series for women to race in. So if you want to race, you're going to have to race with the guys. So we put our helmets on the same way. We put our, fire suits on one leg at a time. So once you get all that on, does it really matter, who's sitting in the seat?
would you want there to be, and being a female, and maybe, not so much worried about, making a career out of this point or whatnot, and we'll get to that point, but just being a female in general, would you have wanted then or even wanted now for there to be an all-female league or race, or is it better in your opinion that, these females have to get out there or had to get out there and compete with the guys and kind of show what they had against other guys, or would you prefer there at least been an opportunity for an all-female league, or do you think it's best the way it is? It had to be for you and the ladies that are in it now?
Looking back, I would say I probably wouldn't change it at all, and that because of this, that type of racing obviously is male-dominated and has been since the beginning of it. Stock car racing was started with guys. Women just sort of trickled in here and there. So to say there we could, in the late 90s, they tried to do a late model traveling series for just women, similar to like the K&N or ARCA. Just wasn't enough females, to make a good field even back then. Now, it's obviously there's a lot more out there, starting to make the effort and staying in it long enough to get noticed, but I don't really know. I don't think it would be, I don't know. I played sports my whole life, so I'm very competitive. So, stick me in a powder puff, and I'm pretty pissed off because there's not much competitiveness there. Because there's not a lot of females that have any experience, but you stick me on a track with a bunch of, veteran drivers, and it's, there's a challenge. So, any good driver wants to be challenged. No one wants to go out there, sit on the pole, and, lead all 100 laps or whatever. It's a victory, but it's not one worth bragging about.
Now, you raced quite a few years, and I see that you took off about 5 years from 2002 to 2012. Was that when you started doing PR, or had you started doing PR before that? And what got you into that field of the sport?
My last competitive race for a while was in 2006, and what I had done is I had raced for myself for a while, and then I raced for a couple different teams, then went back to racing for myself. Stock Car Racing magazine, which is a sister to the Circle Track magazine, that it's nationwide. We built a truck with them in 2005, debuted it in 6, and I ran it in 6 and part of 7 before I moved to the Carolinas. When I went to the Carolinas, I actually took my truck with me, but it is completely different than what they race up there. They race more of like a late model chassis kind of truck. Down here, the Fast Truck, American Truck, Parts Pro, the Joy Coulter series that was out for a while, all of those trucks are built on a Monte Carlo metric chassis. So there's no comparison really at all whatsoever. And so my truck just sat on jack stands for the 5.5 years I lived up there. And that is when I started doing more of the PR stuff, getting involved. I'd always done my own PR in racing since I started racing, because I learned real quickly how to work the media, how to use it to your advantage, what sponsors look for, what sponsors need, what track promoters are looking for. I worked for a couple tracks doing different promotional stuff for them. Then I worked at a racing school for years. So I got to work and see all the different angles of racing, which helped me then coming back here. And then I hadn't been back here in Florida for about maybe 9 months or something like that when Dylan's parents contacted me about working for him and basically doing for him what I had done for my racing career, which was, a lot of the charity work, but learning how to work the media, brand a name, build a name, and try to take the next step, the level in racing.
Now, being around a race car driver and PRing in a sport that you had competed in for a good hot minute and, had a passion for, how hard was it to be that involved with the day-to-day routine of a race team and not really be behind the wheel or do anything yourself on the track?
Well, I'd like to lie to you and tell you that it's just easy. There's no problem to it whatsoever. But the competitiveness will tell you right now is every time, Dylan would crank the motor or something like that, take a green flag, I would still get those feelings and think about, what would go through my mind before I took a green flag at a track or something like that. And, watching him and helping him develop a name in the community and understanding the importance of giving back and how the racing community, can actually help people. It is something that was, I'm very grateful and honored that I had that opportunity with him. And he is definitely a very talented driver, but what makes him so unique is he is just as talented off the track as he is on. So, he is definitely going to go places. There's no doubt in my mind. But, my few things I still have a few tracks that I've tackled that he hasn't tackled. I got to run Atlanta Motor Speedway and South Boston and IRP back before it was ORP, things like that. So I always had a few little things I could throw his way. But, yeah, no, it's still hard. It's still hard. But, I still have my truck, and I got to run the charity race in December, the 100-lapper. So, and now I still have it. So hopefully we're going to get it back out there, update this motor because she's over 10 years old, so she's needing some help. So we're gonna do some refreshing to her.
Now, you talked about this, and I saw this as well, and I was going to ask you about that. You built a new race truck with Stock Car Racing Magazine, and it says it was featured in 7 articles. One, how tough I've never built a race car, so kind of walk me through how difficult and time-consuming that was, but also how much of an accomplishment that was, not only to kind of, work with them and build this, a brand new race truck, but to have it featured and have it be such a, focal point that, it was, in 7 articles.
Well, when you're in racing, it's, you have to always think outside the box. Sponsors are hard to come by, figuring angles to work the media to get the coverage so you can please the sponsors. Because, local track racing, Saturday night racing, is not usually covered by any kind of television, radio, anything like that. So you really have to learn how to just work angles. And I had come out of racing for a team and I was tired of pulling in the sponsorship money and having it going for things maybe I didn't particularly think it should go for. So it was time for me to race for myself again. And I did not have the money to go buy a race truck. So I put a proposal package together, went to Stock Car and Circle Track Racing Magazine, and, said, listen, these trucks are huge all over the United States. There's a great opportunity to show people how economically they can be built because they're built on a metric Monte Carlo chassis. You don't have to build a two-beamer chassis, for this. So the expense is down. The crate motor, is another option that kept it down. And, showed them just the PR stuff I had done in the past and what I could do to help them, promote the magazines. And PRI had just switched to coming down here to Orlando that year. They had been in Indianapolis for 20, 30-some years. So that was also another big highlight because we were able to debut it there. And they agreed to it, so they purchased they got all the stuff that needed to be built, everything from the body to the transmission, motor, seat, belt, everything, tires, wheels, came through all the different vendors that they had in their magazine. We just showed step by step, obviously, doing the roll cage and then, installing the train line and the motor and, how to do the steering wheel and how the brakes need to be long. We took the shocks to a friend of mine, Dave Fletcher, over in Tampa and showed, how to revalve shock and things like that. And we just did it in the magazine. They took the pictures. We did all the work. And at the end of the year, after erasing it and giving them whatever they needed for their magazine, I got a truck. So that was a way for me to get a race truck and not have to spend any money.
There you go. With you having all this experience with building and working on your vehicles, on your race cars or trucks, how much more respect do you have for drivers in general, but even more specifically other female drivers when they have the knowledge and take the initiative to be hands-on versus the drivers, and I know you probably see a lot of it in the local tracks and the local races you've been to, where these young drivers really don't know much about their car and are not willing to be hands-on, how much more respect do you have for drivers that are hands-on and have that knowledge? And I know it obviously helps you drive better because then you know more about your car and know, when things ain't handling right. But I would think as a driver with your experience and your knowledge, you kind of have a different respect for drivers that take that profession as serious as you did.
I can tell you I wish I knew a lot more than I do know. I know some very basics. I don't know nearly as much as I would like. Unfortunately, most of the time the guys were working on the vehicles in the garage. I was out getting sponsors or doing, promotional stuff, meets and greets or whatever I had to do, to get the sponsors so we could race. I can tell you without a doubt that the best racers I have seen, heard of, race anything from any level are the ones that know the car inside out and know how to race, because it's a lot easier. Like I can get in there and I can tell you, where it's pushing, or I can tell you, what it feels like, but I can't tell you exactly what adjustments need to be done. So to me, the better driver that can, wheel in and get the car exactly the way they want it, is, for instance, Dylan's crew chief is Chad Pierce out of Orlando. He's one of those that's a driver, but he's also a builder. So when he communicated with Dylan on, what do I need, Dylan would say, I need, this is what it's doing. He'd say, okay, we're going to try this. This is why we're going to try it. So Dylan really got a chance to start getting the feel of actually working on it and understanding, what the wedge was, or why he was putting so many rounds of this in there, or he was putting, spring rubber in the right rear, So to me, the guy that can do, or girl, that understands and can do both of those things is going to have the advantage on a person that just sits in the car and drives it.
Now, obviously, mastering racing is a very special but hard skill set. Not everybody can master being out there on a track. Not everybody can be a Jimmy Johnson, and I'm not saying he's the most talented driver. I honestly think Kyle Busch is the most talented driver, but in our generation, he's one of the most successful drivers. So that's just why I use Jimmy Johnson. But at the same time, not everybody can be a successful PR person and help take a driver and help, basically support and and be able to financially support what a race team needs to do. And this team or any team that you're involved with, obviously they count on you a lot to financially get them where they need to be able to get to and get the public recognition that they need and get out there. Which one, in your opinion, now that you've had a significant amount of time in both of them, was harder to master? Because one is your career and your finances, and another one is someone else's livelihood that is in your hands. And so I can imagine the pressure had to be, stacked up against you in either situation. But when it was all said and done, which one was harder for you to master, and which one brought more pressure onto you?
They're obviously both very difficult. When you're racing and you've got the challenge of the vehicle you're driving, obviously it's different every race. And then you're going to different tracks. So you've got, a different size track, different banking, and then your temperature, what the weather's like. Your competitors, a lot of times your competitors are changing, that you're racing against. So all of that, tied into one, it is, and then you just take the physical aspects of racing. Here in Florida, it's 100 and some degrees, a good 120, 30 degrees at least, while you're buckled inside there. And it's not like any other sport, like in basketball or baseball or football, something like that, where you can call a timeout or you have quarter intermissions where you can just take a water break. That doesn't happen. Sometimes you may get a caution. You may even get a red flag where you can take a second to regroup. But if you're out there and you get, hit sideways or bump off the wall and it messes up the caster and camber on the right front or something like that, you have to deal with it. There's no time for you to just take a time out and regroup. So to me, that is, it's very mental as much as it is extremely physical. The PR part, obviously, is not nearly as physical, but it's extremely mental, and emotional as far as, that saying, like with sponsorship, anybody that knows that's ever tried to get money, to go racing, it's 999 no's before you get to your yes. Well, you can't get discouraged when people tell you no. You have to look at it as, well, you're just one more closer to the yes.
Yeah.
So, that part, to me, it is discouraging. The economy obviously is a lot different than, say, when I was racing, but the media has changed too. We did not have the internet and Facebook and Instagram and all the stuff that we have nowadays, So in some ways it's really helped, and in other ways the economy, all around has hurt racing. There's a lot of tracks here in Florida that I raced 15 years ago that are no longer there. They're shopping, they're shopping parks now. There's one that's just a vacant land. There's another one that they're building warehouses on. So we've lost some great tracks because of the economy.
And I've been wanting to ask this since your bio got sent over to me. You're originally from Michigan. Are you a Wolverine?
I would say yes, because that's where most of my family had went. But I actually moved down here and finished out high school here in Florida. But yes, most of my family are Wolverines. Now my nephews and they're all big Gators. They all went to Florida, so we have a sort of a split between the Gators and the Wolverines down here.
And that didn't help none of either. I'm a Buckeye, so that didn't really help the situation at all. There weren't even Gators in there. No longer doing PR with Dylan Martin Racing. What are your plans moving forward? Are you looking to get back on the track? Are you looking to continue the PR, or are you planning on doing both? What is Kim's plans moving forward at this point?
What I would like to do is to get my truck back on the track a little bit more. I still don't think I'm that old, so I think I can still get out there and be competitive and at least go have some fun with them. But I also, as far as, you still have to pay the mortgage. So to do that, I'd like to see if we can't, find some teams in this area, or if, working for one of the traveling series on the weekends that they race. I used to work for ASA years ago, doing some technical stuff for them and pace car driving. So there's, this just happened, so we're going to put some feelers out there and see what comes up. Hello? CJ, did I lose you?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay, he's calling back in. He got lost.
There you go. I'm back. For some reason, I don't understand this phone, but at the 1 hour, about the 1 hour spot, it cuts me off every time on my cell phone. I don't know if it's trying to tell me it's halftime or what the case is.
No, it's just you being upset because I talked about the Wolverines. That's what that was. That was what happened.
I had to set a rush real quick. I did it faster tonight. Last night it took me a little bit longer because I didn't catch it at first that that my phone hung up. But it's weird. But how what's it take to get into PR? I mean, it's not something that you just kind of fall into, and it's not something that anybody can just do. So I'm assuming it's got to take some kind of training or some kind of I don't know, schooling or something or something. I know you did it for yourself, but and I'm sure that you were nervous and it was kind of rocky at first. Is there something, some kind of course or something that you got to take to learn how to be a PR?
You know what? I'm sure there is in college. Unfortunately, I didn't take anything like that in college. Pretty much everything I do with PR is just learning that I've learned from experience. What worked, what didn't work.
Gotcha.
And I'm a people person, so it's easy for me to speak and stuff like that. So when I've gotten asked to go speak at, colleges and the Shriners Regional Banquet where there's thousands of people, that just helps having the experience. And really, to be honest with you, the love of what you do makes it so easy. It's easy for me to talk about racing. It's easy for me to talk about the charities and the kids, because I just love doing it. So it just, I'm sure there is, and probably if I would have taken some college courses, I'd even be better at it. But unfortunately, Unfortunately, I didn't realize my life was going to go this way when I was in my mid-20s.
I didn't decide to do this until I was in my mid-30s, so I feel you on that. And it's amazing that I'm able to be so talkative and do this. I got two other jobs. One is a bouncer at a club, and the other one's a manager at a gas station. So you can imagine how many people I got to talk to on a regular basis. And unless it's sports, I don't really want to talk to them either at either job. So it's all about, I guess, what you love and what you have a passion for. And obviously, being PR and working with the public and helping, a team be able to be successful financially in the public eye, charities and everything else, and being a driver, obviously those are two things that are very passionate to you, and you've been able to make a career out of it and be, pretty successful at it. So, obviously, it's more of your personal experience and the knowledge you gain over it versus any kind of training anybody can give you, as long as you got the passion and the heart for it. So, I tell people all the time, I remember doing my first show. I did it in the computer room next to my bedroom. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. I only scheduled for 15 minutes because I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to talk that long. And I was very quiet, and it got to be 15 minutes. He's like, you know what, I can do 30 minutes. So I made it a 30-minute show real quick. And the next thing I know, I was having 3-hour shows 5 days a week and then hanging out on other shows, and it became like second nature to me. But, it was, I'm sure if I'd have took schooling and everything else as well, I'd probably be a lot better than what I am at it. But, I like you said, the passion, that kind of takes over, and, you learn on the way, on the road, or learn as you go, and definitely shapes us and lets us know what works and what doesn't work. I have made my many, many mistakes, and we've started over from day one so many times in the last 4 years, and I definitely
That's
feel you on
that. You can think you're at the top, but the saying is, until you've cashed the check, don't think you've won anything. So,
yeah. I'm definitely glad we got to have you on the show. Like I said, Miss Lee usually did most of the conversing back and forth. So I think outside of us meeting at Daytona, this is the only other time we've really spoke, other than we've commented back and forth or messaged back and forth, especially when our brother was bringing you those tabs. So it was really cool to be able to talk to you, be able to get to know you on a more of a personal level versus just representing someone else's level, and definitely would love to have you back on, and especially you get the truck going, or you land another gig in the PR side of it, and have that driver on, have you on to see how it's going with you, and what this experience has brought for you, and what you've learned differently with this team or that team, or whatever the case may be. So definitely want to keep the connection and the friendship going that we've been able to build. And like I said, whenever you land on the PR side, we'd love to be able to get involved like we did with Dylan Martin and whatever charity stuff, and sharing stuff and promoting stuff as well, and helping that driver out as well. But I definitely want to thank you, Kim, for coming on. It was great to be able to get to know you a little bit better, and hopefully we'll get you back on soon.
I would absolutely love that, and thank you guys for having me on.
Yes, ma'am. Is there anything else you wanted to throw out there, or repost any social media? Anything else you want to throw out there real quick?
Yeah, I can send you some flyers. We've got, and Dylan's involved in this too, the Gators Dockside. We're going to have another fundraiser for the Cars kids on August 27th, and it's an all-day, all-night event. And then October 4th is our bowler raiser that we're going to be doing, bowling teams together and raise money for those kids. So, we're hoping this is going to be the last year for the Cars, and then where there's going to be some major changes to it. So we're hoping that this is going to be a great year. We've got 3 wonderful kids, all here locally from Central Florida, that we're helping. So, if you want any questions about them, go on the Cars events page or just Facebook me or whatever, and we can definitely get you the information. But we definitely want to do everything we can to help those kids out.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. And we'll try to do whatever we can, as we always try.
And you guys do a very good job of that, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. I don't know. It wasn't all us. We just got lucky on that one. But we was glad we was able to help, and that was all that really mattered. And I'm glad everybody that helped us be able to help you guys. And, like I said, it wasn't all us. I just happened to share with a couple people that, the Shriners was personal with them as well, so they took it personal and helped us out. And so it kind of worked out. And I love being able to tell the story that because of you guys and Dylan Martin being involved with Shriner, I had the opportunity to go to the Coca-Cola 600 last year, and part of the deal was I got to interview David Reagan and R.J. Mitty. Of course, R.J. Mitty credits his career to the Shriners and helping him to get past, his medical condition. And I didn't have anything. I'm sitting there sweating and getting ready to talk to these two guys and have no idea what I'm going to say. And then his PR in the corner of my ear talks about the Shriner. And that happened to be the same time when all that was first started going on, and it just all worked together. And that piece got to go published on NASCAR.com and everything else. And it just, it just made you sometimes stuff comes from thin air and just all works together to everything you have going on, and it was just really cool. So, I was glad to be involved with that, and was glad to be able to share that and be able to discuss that with other people. So. Always cool, but definitely, we'll definitely keep in touch, and we'll definitely get you back on here. And looking forward to the rest of this year, and looking forward to seeing how things go with you, and make sure that Miss Lee keeps in touch with you. And of course, Miss Lee will email me here, message me here, and talk to me, telling me that yes, she will keep in touch. She's always on top of that, and. Very excited about her being able to go to Mid-Ohio. This is her first media event, so really cool with that, and be able to, her experience open new doors as well. So definitely keep in touch, and we'll get you back on.
I will.
Soon. You enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
I will. Thank you, CJ, and tell Lee I said thanks too. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Bye.
Good night. That was Kim Scheffler, former PR over at Martin Racing, former race car driver, former a lot of things, very knowledgeable, very educated, very experienced in the racing world woman. I want to make sure that I say that appropriately. That could come off the wrong way if you just say very experienced woman. So glad to have her on. Again, I would have never imagined in a million years that that 35 minutes, 37 minutes would have went by so quickly. Like that was extremely quick and extremely interesting and fun. So always glad to be able to have familiar faces on the show and
learn new things about familiar faces.
Yeah, and we're getting ready to learn something else. Learn some more about another familiar face. We got Miss Hannah Newhouse coming on the show. She's added a few more things to her resume. Already a very busy woman and got a lot of things going on. And, honestly, sometimes I get very physically tired just reading and putting in my mind everything she's doing between racing and going to school and having a job and then now doing a whole different thing with the K&N Pro, and I don't want to talk about it because I want her to be able to talk about it, and the other job she just got, and I'm assuming that she gave up one of the jobs to get this job. I don't know. But I get exhausted just thinking about everything she's got to do on a day-to-day basis. I get exhausted, and I don't even really do that much. And so I definitely get exhausted. Entertained with her Facebook. I'm not trying to say that I get bored reading her, and that's why I'm exhausted. Just physically, I can't imagine doing everything she does in a day. I couldn't imagine doing it at her age, and no longer doing it at my age now. And I kind of feel I am a pretty active person for my age, but I just couldn't imagine doing everything she does. But without any further delay, let's. That was a pretty hard hit with I think he left the game. We got SportsCenter or ESPN News going on at the same time here, trying to keep up on the scores and everything. But without any further delay, let's get Miss Hannah Newhouse on the show. She's been on the show very numerous times. Always a delight to have her on the show. Part of her resume is that she's worked in media and been on the radio, so she makes my job super, super easy because she already knows what it's like to have somebody on there and try to feed for answers and feed for conversations. So she makes this very easy for myself. But without any further delay, Miss Hannah, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing good. It's always a joy to be back on the show, so thanks for having me.
Oh no, thank you. You're just like a bundle of joy. Like you're always happy and excited and everything else when you come on the show. Before we jump into everything, you know the routine. Let's take care of what we got to take care of. Let's throw out the sponsors, social media, website, anything you want to throw out there so the fans, listeners can follow you, like you, know more about you, whatever the case may be. Before we jump into this.
Perfect. Yeah, of course. Social media is Newhouse Racing. I believe my Twitter, Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook that way, which I just figured that out a couple days ago. Otherwise, it's Hannah Newhouse Racing or HannahNewhouse.com for my website. And, of course, throwing out sponsorship plugs, of course. Always a joy to have Boise State University on board with us. It's been an awesome adventure thus far with them, and we're getting ready to go into, of course, our second, as I like to say, season with them because it's a school year now. And so it's the second school year that we're going to be with them, first full season that we're getting ready to complete here with Boise State University, and we just renewed that contract for the 2015-2016 year. So excited about that to come.
Cool. When does school start back up for you?
I'm sorry, what was that?
When does school start back up for you, or has it already started?
Oh, it starts on the 24th, and it feels like I just got out of school.
That's when my son goes back, and it just feels like I told my ex, summer went by quick. It's hard to believe that it's already school time, and I know that it seems like every year goes by quick, but it seems like this year just went by extremely quick. You've added to your resume, and I know it was already a possibility or in the works when we had you on the show last time, but it's now official. Let the fans know, on top of everything you have going on already, what you just added to your resume.
So at the beginning of the 2015 year, we approached the season looking to run full-time in the K&N Pro Series West. And we made it about 2 races in, and we had a really bad accident that has actually basically sidelined me in the K&N Pro Series for the rest of the year because, sadly, unlike a lot of the competitors, we don't have an unlimited budget. We were running barely each race as was, and so to have a thing like that put me out, it was really disheartening for me because I wanted to be in the car. And it worked out really cool, actually, that, I was still going to these races, supporting the teams. I'm really good friends with a lot of the drivers, both East and West Coast, and K&N saw that. And Caitlin Clements, who's actually one of the heads that she's a representative for K&N, she and I got talking one day, and she said, I really think we could use your personality, your relationship with these drivers, and we could use it with K&N. And I said, all right, cool, well, get a hold of me. And after a couple discussions back and forth, I am actually now an affiliate of K&N, and so I work for them in the K&N Pro Series East and West, and I start at VIR in, I believe, 3 weeks. And so basically what I'm doing is I am the social media driver guru, I guess you could say. So they're going to have me getting behind-the-scenes footage of, getting to know the drivers, taking over social media handles, doing post-race, pre-race write-ups. So anything you see out of K&N probably is going to have my name on it. And so I'm really excited because now I'm getting to go to these races, even though I'm not behind the wheel, but I'm still getting to go and enjoy being at the racetrack. And really it's a huge step for my career because this is what I'm going to school for.
Cool. That's definitely a step in the right direction. I know that you've periscoped a few things, and I've caught a few things. How interesting and how much different is Periscope? I know it's a little bit different for us in my age. We didn't have all this stuff that you got now, but this just gives you one more opportunity, not only with the K&N Pro stuff that you have going on, but your own personal stuff. How much more coverage, or how much benefit do you think you'll get by using it? I just like that app. I think it's a cool thing, especially with race car drivers, because you guys get the time in between races, after races, and then, of course, I've seen quite a few of your videos where you've interviewed different race car drivers and you've been hanging out on different outlets, not just Periscope, but is that something that you feel that is going to help do what you do behind the wheel and with the K&N Pro?
Yeah, for sure. I think that Periscope's a great app more than anything for the fans. You know what I mean? It gives these fans an opportunity to be there in the moment with us drivers and interact. And, that's something that beforehand I really don't feel like they got the opportunity to do. Drivers do Q&As on Twitter and all stuff all the time, but they're being bombarded so much with questions, they may not feel like they're, really a part of it. And so with Periscope, it's the live broadcast, and they get to see a side of the drivers, I feel like, that they probably would get to see before. All of us hanging out in the driver's lounge, goofing around. I did a Periscope, I believe, in Iowa, where Noah Gregson and James Bickford were trying to do the whip. And it was the funniest thing ever. And I had, 282 viewers that were watching this live broadcasted, and it was hilarious. And I feel like that's the side of the drivers, as a driver, that I get to see all the time. But fans and other stuff don't get to see that. So Periscope gives that opportunity. And then it also gives opportunities, that I was at King of the Wing, which is a huge wing sprint car asphalt event, and I Periscoped the first, 10 laps of that. And that's cool for people that were at home who couldn't see it. They got to watch live broadcasts, ask questions, all that kind of stuff. So I feel like it's an awesome app, especially in the world of racing.
I agree. I got to watch David Strimmy. He had some cars out at a dirt track one time. I know Kyle Larson as well. Like I said, I've seen a few of the stuff that you have done, and I really like the app, and especially with you doing the stuff with the K&N Pro, I'm assuming that's just one more tool that has been released that can be very beneficial to what you're doing. How hard is it going to be to kind of balance the schedule between the racing, what you have going on with K&N Pro, the new job that we ain't got into yet, and the schooling? I mean, that seems like that's going to be a very hectic, busy schedule.
Oh, yeah, it stresses me out even just thinking about it right now, and it hasn't started. And, Boise State has been awesome. They definitely worked with me last year. And last year I was busy as well with races and stuff. And so, they're on board with me working with my schedule. So that gives me a little bit of relief on the schooling side of it. But also, I'm in pursuit, full-time student of a degree. And so, I'm in 14 credits, school 5 days a week. And when I miss 4 or 5 days, I got a lot of catching up to do. But my professors are awesome about working with me. And I love being on the road. And luckily, being on the road, I really do get the opportunity to do a lot of homework. When I'm on, in 2 weeks I'll be on a 11.5-hour flight to Virginia was what my total flight time was. That's a lot of time to do my economics homework. So it all plays a part. It's going to be all about time management, and I'll get it figured out. I always somehow do. Surprised I haven't lost my head yet, but I always figure it out somehow.
I just couldn't imagine the schedule that you hold. The traveling, is this going to be the most traveling you've done? I know that you go to different tracks when you race, but with this K&N Pro series, is this going to be the most traveling you do on a regular basis now?
Yeah, for sure. Normally my race schedule before, when we were going to try and run the West Series, we would have traveled a lot more, I feel like. But, usually we travel along the Northwest and somewhat throughout California. And then I'll visit the East Coast about once a year, mainly for the Drive for Diversity Combine or something along those lines. And so now I'm going back east 4 times. I'm going to be in Iowa. I've been to Iowa twice. I've been all over California this year. I'll return to California for the West race along with Phoenix for the West race at the end of the year. I'm going to cover some serious mileage. And one of my friends actually the other day said, you should sit down one night and really calculate the miles that you'll have covered by the end of the year. And I honestly made me sick thinking about it. I was like, I don't even want to know. I do not want to know.
I have a question for you. You're talking about your schooling and missing classes, and did your school offer you any online classes to, help you with missing the classes?
Yeah, so my first semester last year as a freshman, I took all traditional. I was all in class, and I missed a ton of school, and I actually pulled out of there with all A's and B's. So that was an accomplishment. And then I was like, you know what? They said, let's try this online school thing, Hannah. You know what I mean? You did it in high school. We offer all the classes you need. Let's try it. You're going to be gone. So my spring semester, I I did. I took all online classes. And it just didn't work out as much as I would have liked it to. I felt like I have self-discipline, but not enough. And so it was just really difficult for me to take my schooling with me, because then it was a matter of procrastination. Like, okay, well, I'll do it after this flight's over, because I really didn't have deadlines. To where if I have a professor in class and I have time dedicated to my class, I feel that I perform better. And I've also, my teachers work with me much better on an in-class atmosphere, which is really weird. I thought it would be the opposite. But, yeah, they definitely have tried to help with the online. We've just decided that a traditional route is more appropriate for me as a student.
Now, you added something else to your busy schedule, and that's another job, or at least a new job. I don't know if you're still holding the other job or not. Let everybody know what you picked up, and was this a job that was more of an interest and maybe to help you stay conditioned for your racing career, or was it just a job you just happened to fall on, or what makes you pursue that field in particular?
So I actually got a new job at Gold's Gym in Boise, Idaho, and it worked out really well. I was going in there regularly and working out and that kind of stuff, and I happened to get talking to one of the ladies that worked there, and they were like, yeah, you know, are you still working at Buffalo Wild Wings? And I was like, yeah, but, you know, I'm getting to the point where I'm over it and the hours aren't working and they're not working with my race schedule. And she goes, I'll give you a job right now if you want it. And I was like, yes, please. And so I worked there for about 2 weeks now, and it's been awesome because now that I work there, I mean, I am there already. I can work out. I have personal trainers and fitness consultants that work right next to me. So, I mean, I feel like I have these friends now that I'm making that they're worried about my physical fitness as well. And so it's been an awesome experience. You know, it's bettering my physical fitness and my mentality. And I feel like it's going to help me, of course, going into my next races and stuff. So it's just an awesome atmosphere working there. And they're awesome about working with my race schedule, too. And that was the first thing I said. I was like, hey, if you're going to hire me, just know I'm going to be the hardest person ever to try and schedule for hours. And they're like, don't worry about it. We like you. You can work here. And I was like, awesome. Thank goodness. So it's been awesome thus far.
I say that's got to be very. I don't know. I've managed many places, and for them to work with you with your K&N Pro stuff, with your racing schedule, with your school schedule, I tell you what, not too many jobs are that giving and are willing to work with somebody. So, you know, I definitely hats off to them, because, you know, that's with your schedule, it's got to be hard and it's got to be hit and miss. So I definitely applaud them and the manager or the person that's doing the schedule and working with you, because I know how frustrating it can be at times when you really need somebody and you're already booked with everything you got going on. So I tell you what, that's definitely good for a good one. It says a lot about you, but two, that's cool that they did that for you. The K&N Pro stuff. A lot of faces that you're going to see, and you know, a lot of them are going to be familiar faces, and a lot of them are going to be familiar faces. How's it exciting is it for you to be able to meet new drivers that you've not been able to meet at this point, and some of them that, you know, are starting to build a name that you get to have an opportunity to talk to and you know, kind of, you know, pick their brains at different times and everything else. How cool is that for you, not only for the PR side, but as a driver yourself to kind of help, you know, use the information and the experience that they got and to the level they're at as well. And I know in a sense you're pretty much at the same level. You know, if it wouldn't have been for that bad, you know, wreck, you would still be in the series right now. But how cool is that for you to have this opportunity like that?
It is an unbelievable opportunity that I get to be a part of these drivers that are, you know, coming up in the series. And I get to make these friendships, and, you know, hopefully they last. I have some of my absolute best friends that are current drivers in the K&N Pro Series. And, you know, I was talking to a couple people, and they're like, well, there's an obvious reason they chose you for this job, Hannah. And I was like, why is that? And they're like, you can take the most quiet, shy driver, and you can pull a conversation out of them that no one has been able to pull out of them. And you can pull them out of this comfort shell. And that's what, you know, that's what these drivers are needing to learn and needing to figure out how to do it and have a media presence. And so for me to be a part of that and, help them along the way and get to know them as a driver and as a person, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to, forming not only some friendships, but some business partnerships and maybe help some of these drivers excel to a point in their career that I wasn't able to reach.
And that's cool. I mean, especially with being able to break them out of their shell. We had, Kim Scheffler right before you came on, the PR for Dylan Martin, and I can remember the first couple times, and really even first 3 or 4 times we had him on the show, any question I asked him was a 1-word answer or 2-word answers, and it was like pulling teeth getting answers out of. Then all of a sudden we got him on the show about a month ago, and it was like, I'm not saying you couldn't get him to shut up, but all of a sudden it was a paragraph for an answer versus 1-word answer, and it was where he finally was able to come out of his shell. And, I was that type in high school, and even my first job, I had employees come up to me because I didn't speak to nobody for the first 2 weeks. They asked me if I even spoke. Like, they never heard me say a word. And, it wasn't until I got into management jobs and got into the bouncing where I had to talk to people and have to, have public relations that I learned to open up and talk. So, I understand where these drivers, they're young, they're not used to this. For most of their life, they just knew to get in a car and finish first, and that was kind of the extent of it. And so to have someone, first of all, that's, been there and done that and has been able to open up is really cool because you can kind of, what buttons to push and what angles to go to kind of help open up a driver. But, your personality, like I said, you're just like a big ball of energy. And I especially the guy drivers, I don't see how any of them, this big ball of joy and big ball of energy and a pretty face to go with it. I don't see too many drivers out there that wouldn't be willing to open up and have a conversation and kind of lift their guard down anyway. So I'm sure that's got to not only make their job easier and help them develop, but it's got to put a big smile on your face to know that you're helping them be able to kind of come out of a shell and do something that they've not been able to do or not really had to do until they start getting to these levels where there's more media and there's more people in their face.
Yeah, and that's something that, I see it a lot more in the younger drivers, or there's some older drivers even that are so quiet and shy. And, you get me in front of a camera and it's blah, 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 and I can just go off and on and blah, blah, blah. And then, you get them in front of it. And it's a huge part of racing. Your camera appearance and all that stuff and how you speak to the media is huge in sponsorship, in marketability, and in creating a name for yourself. And so even if it's just something as simple as, getting them comfortable in front of a camera, and even if it's just me with a GoPro, I'm not here with a whole camera crew. Most of my video bits are honestly going to be filmed selfie form with a GoPro, asking them off-the-wall questions. And so just something as simple as that could maybe ease them up a little bit next time they get in front of a camera. That's something I would love to do to help a driver.
Like I said, that's definitely cool, and you get to be in a field that you're going to school for, and you get more experience under the belt, and obviously you want your racing career to be it, but now you got something that you got more experience. You're employed with NASCAR, and it's kind of either way you go now. You're doing what you want to do, and not everybody gets an opportunity to do what they want to do, but be in 2 fields that they would love to be involved with. I don't think there's too many people out there that are that lucky and that blessed, and I'm sure you got to be riding on cloud 9 with all this going on, and rightfully so. You've worked hard. You worked at a young age. You graduated early. You've done everything that you needed to do to get to this position, and rightfully so, you're being rewarded for it. And I think it's really cool, to have you back on the show back when first time we had you to where you at now. So much has changed, and the Boise State deal, and then this deal, and the driver, driving over diversity, and we got to talk to you while he was out there. Just everything that we've got to see and experience with you, and talked about on the show, not experience with you, but we've got to hear you experience. It's just really cool, and I'm glad to see that it's all kind of coming together. But like I said, I couldn't imagine not only being in the field of my, being in the field of my dream, but to be in two fields that I want to do. I just couldn't imagine it, and I'm sure you got to be on cloud nine right now with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think about myself even 2 years ago when I was 16. I was a junior in high school getting ready to graduate, and, I had my mind set on something, and I was like, okay, now how am I going to get there? And I just worked and worked. And there were just times where I was like, okay, I missed my senior prom, and I didn't get to go to any of the football games, and I didn't go to any of the college parties or any of the college football games because I was racing or I was studying or I was making sure I was caught up. And then I look at myself like the opportunity that I have now with this K&N deal. And, I look at the other 18-year-olds that I was friends with in high school, and, they're just graduating high school, not really sure what they want to do for college or if they're going to college, and they really have no goals and motivations. And I'm 18 years old, and I'm pursuing a career that most people won't get until later in life. And so that right there just makes all of my hard work and all of the struggle completely pay off to get to do something that most people would kill to get to do. So I'm so thankful for all of it and so excited to get to start to do all of it.
Oh, and believe me, I know exactly what you mean. I was 36 until I found out what I wanted to do. Now, granted, I'm sitting here doing it, and I'm doing it for free, but I get to do what I want to do eventually someday. Hopefully, we'll be in a building somewhere, but I definitely see you. I had no idea. I did the military. I've managed different places. I've done bouncing. I've done a few different things in my lifetime, and I have enjoyed every one of them that I've done, but it wasn't until April 15, 2011, I can tell you the exact day this all started, I had no idea what I really wanted to do with my life. And now that I've done this for the last 4 years, there's nothing else that I'd rather do, and this is something that I want to do the rest of my life and want to find a way to financially make it where that's all I do. But I couldn't imagine at your age knowing exactly what I wanted to do, let alone actually be able to do it. So that's definitely cool, and I know exactly what you mean when, I see some of the people that even when I went to high school with, they're still kind of stumbling around trying to find themselves and what they want to do. So it is really cool that you not only knew what you wanted to do, but you're able to do it. Anything else you want to throw out that's coming up or got going on that you want to make sure that the listeners know about, that they either come see you or they need to be there, any kind of events going on?
Well, I mean, I'm not on the track again until August 15th, so this is my only off weekend. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with myself. But, yeah, so I'll
you
do
said that like it.
August.
You said that, I didn't cut you off, but you said that like that was so far away. I'm not on the track again until, it's only 10 days away.
Oh, I know, but I think about it, and I'm like, okay, this is my off weekend. But then I look at my calendar, and I am at a racetrack every single weekend until November 22nd. So I really am not sure what I'm going to do with myself, because I normally don't plan off weekends because I don't have time. But,
better get those workouts into the gym while you can, because you might not be around the gym too many times here soon with that schedule.
Oh, no kidding. I know. I just figured between all the walking around and the traveling I'm going to do, it's going to mentally work me out enough that my body will just retain the rest of it.
There you go.
But nope, I'll be on the track August 22nd or 15th at Rocky Mountain Raceways in Salt Lake. We'll be there with the 46th Boise State University Super Late Model for a Rocky Mountain Challenge Series race. And then I am off to VIR the next week for the K&N East race. And a really big race to watch out, though, for me is I am actually making my return to the K&N West Series. I will be running the September 5th Meridian race in Meridian, Idaho. It's kind of a home track. It's a short quarter-mile abrasive track, and I absolutely love it. It's like a little bull ring. There's a wall all the way around it. And I feel like we are going to have a solid shot at being a really good top contender at this race. So that'll be something to watch out for. in the up-and-coming future, as well as watching the K&N page on Twitter. You can follow them on Twitter at K&N Filters, Instagram, and, really watch, because here in a little bit I want to be taking that over, so it'll be cool to see what we come up with.
Now, I got one more question before I let you go, before I let you plug social media and all that real quick again. I saw, and I meant to say something about this earlier, I seen that you were leading towards the end of the race, got caught up with some lap traffic, and your comment was the driver didn't let you go by, not that he was going to let you go anyway. I was curious to know, was this a driver that you've had on-track issues or off-track issues with before? Just the style of racing, you knew it. What was the deal with that? Because I saw it and I kind of put in the back of my mind that when I was preparing for the show, I seen it again because I seen it the day that it happened or the night that it happened, whenever you posted it. But I was curious to know, was this a personal ordeal or just the racing style, and you knew that she was going to be difficult? What was the deal with that driver?
We've never quite figured it out, but it's definitely always been a personal issue with the driver. And it's really sad to say because, my little brother, who's 16, he's out there in trucks as well with me racing. And you watch the other drivers race him, and then you watch him race me, and it is two completely different ways the drivers run my brother versus me. And, we've never figured it out because I don't mean to talk myself up because I will be the first person to walk over to your pit and fully apologize or take credit for something that happened on the racetrack. Whether it's, hey, I revved you funny, or, hey, I hit you a little too hard and got you sideways, or we got involved in a wreck, I will be the first person to go apologize because I know what it takes to build and pay for race cars. So I've always been, taking credit for where I do something wrong. And so I don't see why any of these drivers would have something against me. And so I was leading the race with 5 laps to go. I started 18th, took the lead on lap 5, and I was gone, checking out, and hit lap traffic, and I was lapping, I believe, 6th place, and we had like 19 trucks. So I was lapping 6th place, and I just saw it coming. The flagger kept giving him the hey, move over, leaders like on you, and we have spotters, and I gave him 2-3 laps, and my spotter's on the radio going, hey, if you don't get past this guy, 2nd place is coming for you. And I was like, great. And I got underneath this guy going into turn 1 and 2, completely side by side with him. And I had to whoa up a little bit because of the line I was running. And this guy drove me all the way to the dirt, down the backstretch, wrapped himself across my nose, and then spun out. And how our ruling in our series works is if you are even remotely involved in an accident, you go to the back. And I was like, that is so bogus because the lap car didn't give me any room, nothing. And he's done it to me multiple times, whether I'm lapping him or we're racing. He just wrecked me. And so here I am, 19th place, 5 laps to go, and I just booked it. I had an unbelievable truck. We ended up finishing 5th. So, that's something to be proud of considering. Yeah. But it's to the point where we're so frustrated with the series and some of the officiating and the drivers more than anything. It's just not being handled correctly, and we have a really hard time wanting to go out and race in series where the drivers are not being babysat, I guess is the best word. Nothing's being handled, and so it's just been a reoccurring issue, sadly, and it ruins a night that should have been in victory lane, basically.
When you say it's personal, do you think it's personal towards you or personal because you're a female?
I think it's personal towards me, a little bit of both. Okay. I started racing in that series when I was 14, and, I was racing with a team that owned a NASCAR K&N Pro Series team. So I'm assuming these other drivers were looking at me going, oh, look, it's a spoiled little rich girl running the best of the best truck, custom built. And it's like, I'm sorry, guys, I helped build this truck. This truck's older than half the trucks in the field. You know what I mean? I've just got an awesome crew chief that's dialing it in, and I'm driving my butt off. And so they were getting beat by a 14-year-old girl, and I almost won the championship that year. And ever since then, they've just kind of had something against me because I guess I got my start in the series with a high-class team. But people don't look at that. They just look at, it's just been rough. It's happened in multiple series, and I feel like it's a thing against all girls. You just take it and run with it. You know what I mean? There's nothing you can do about it.
I definitely applaud you. And And we had one of the Decker girls on, and we had Sarah Cornett-Ching from the ARCA series on. And, I kind of say the same thing to you as well, because you're well established in the racing world, and off the field and off the field, or on the track and off the track as well. And I know that we've had other female drivers come through the sport, and more notable as of late with Danica and Johanna and Jennifer Jo Cobb, and we can name a handful of drivers that have gotten the spotlight or have been around the sport for a while and kind of helped pave the way. But your generation now, I would say anywhere from about 16 through early 20s, when it comes to females, I feel that are parts of it, and I know a lot of you, and you'll probably say the same thing, don't feel that you're part of this movement or help paving the way. You're just out there doing what you love to do. But I feel that even someone like yourself is helping making this sport easier for the next generation of young females, because they see you on the track and they see you guys on a night to night and week to week and on social media and whatever the case may be, help make the female presence in the sport so more noticeable, and seeing you guys be successful and seeing you guys earn the respect from the guys and NASCAR and whatever the case may be. It's helping, this future generation, the 5-year-old, the 8-year-olds are out there now that see the Danicas and Johanna Longs that are in the spotlight, but also go to the local tracks and see someone such as yourself and the other drivers we have that come on the show that are established and are successful. And, I highly applaud, because even though you guys don't necessarily feel that way because you already had a generation ahead of you kind of start this, you guys are helping pave this path for these younger girls and making it even easier, because just like you said, ever since you're 14, you're still kind of battling being the female out there and kind of, having personal vendettas against you, because not only you're female, but the teams you happen to fall on. But the next generation maybe won't have it as difficult, because you guys are continuously proving time in and time out and race after race that you guys belong out there, and you guys are just as good as the guys. And so I applaud what you're doing, because not every female out there has the courage and has the knowledge and has the physical attributes to do it. So I definitely want to applaud you and thank you, because, there's a lot of talented females out there that we will never have gotten to see or never will get to see if you guys wouldn't have, gone forward and did what you wanted to do and proved that you could be out there. So I think it's really cool. Before we let you go, I want to give you an opportunity once again to plug any kind of social media, what you got going on, where they can find your stuff, at the KM Pro stuff that you're going to be doing, your website, everything else. Throw that out there real quick. Shout out to your sponsors real quick before we let you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Social media, of course, is Newhouse Racing, and I believe that's my Instagram, Twitter. You can also find me on Facebook that way, or Hannah Newhouse Racing. HannahNewhouse.com is the website. And then for K&N and stuff, I will be taking over the K&N Twitter handle, I believe, which is at K&N Filters. They also have an Instagram, and I'm not sure if we'll be uploading to Facebook, but might as well check it out just in case. They've got awesome stuff going on over there all the time. And we'll be, releasing really cool bits on the drivers, pre-race, post-race write-ups. And then, of course, sponsor Boise State University has been a huge part of my career in the last year and a half, and they continue to be as far as my education as well as the car store, Mikey's Graphics, Kids Performance, and Dyno. They help me get to the track on a weekend basis, and I wouldn't be where I am without them.
Hannah, as always, it's an honor, a privilege. The ball of excitement and joy you bring to the show is second to none. Love having you on the show. Definitely love to hear from you shortly after you guys get the racing season kicked off, and shortly after you start doing these K&N Pro, this K&N Pro gig. I just love to know how it's going, what you've learned so far, what you expected versus what's actually happening, all that kind of stuff. Good luck, not only with the K&N Pro Series stuff, your career, school is most importantly is the school and getting that degree, and make sure that you get educated. Good luck with tackling all that stuff, plus the job. I know you're busy, but I'm starting to get tired and starting to break into sweat now just thinking about your schedule. But I definitely want to make sure we get you back on real soon and see how everything is going and see how you're handling everything. You enjoy the rest of your night. Hopefully we'll be talking to you soon, and good luck.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yes, ma'am. That was Hannah Newhouse of Hannah Newhouse Racing. Very, very talented, very bright, beautiful girl. I don't think you could say one negative thing about this young lady. As she's a ball of energy and a bundle of joy every time we bring her on the show, and she's got to be all that to have the schedule she has. So very excited about that. I'm looking forward for her being a victory lane this year, and hopefully these guys start racing her the way that they should be racing her, so we can see her talents that get her in victory lane, and definitely be looking forward to seeing her stuff come out with the Cane Pro Series. As keep up with that, Miss Lee will definitely be sending stuff over and sharing it on the Facebook pages that she constantly does with all of us. So very excited that I have her back on the show. And like I told you, she makes my job so easy. She has shows on ESPN and it's been in my seat, so she knows how this goes. It's very easy. I mean, I don't know which 30 minutes went by quicker with Ken on the show or Lynn on the show, but it's hard to believe it's already 10:45, and that last hour and 15 minutes just went that quick. And I can't say enough about either one of these big ladies, and especially with the age and everything she's at such a young age. It blows my mind and it's amazing to me. Tomorrow night we got Racing with Big Sweats. Looking forward to another action-packed show. We got, of course, myself, Big Sweat himself, Bill Meyer, and Chris, Yellow Caution Flag on the show. I got a bad signal. That's better. I ain't moved on, so I don't know, something went by and caused me to have a bad signal. But we got them in the studio. We got Asphalt Modified driver Danny Bond, I guess how you pronounce it, B-O-H-N. And we got Asphalt Late Model driver Wayne Goss on the show tomorrow night. Speaking of Chris Creighton, go over and check out their site over www.yellowcautionflag.com. If you're into local, I was breaking up. I don't know why. I ain't moved nowhere. Phone's the same place it always is. I don't know why I would break it up tonight. It says I got full signals. I don't know. Of course, something's got to happen. It's gone too smooth for too long for us on this show. There's got to be something. It's bad enough at the halfway point my phone hangs up every time, which I still don't understand that.
Good thing I thought about switching on my mic. I don't know why we didn't do that last night.
I was assuming that once my phone went down, everything went down. I assumed that the show could still be heard, but I didn't think this into anything be heard. I didn't think about it.
Oh, I thought about last night after it already happened.
So we know from now on, as long as both of us are on the show, that we can switch our mic on and we can continue on while I call in. So we got that covered from now on. But definitely check that out. Also, Sunday, we got the return of Mr. CJ Sports Rant. We take the show from Saturday night to Sunday night now with my new schedule, which I might have the old schedule for another week or two, ain't sure, but we're still going to do it anyway. Sunday nights is the new home of this of the Rant. 6 o'clock, show kicks off. NFL, you are on notice. You are my rant for the week. There's some things that say, hey, this releasing of the emails, it's just one more thing to add to my list of things to rant about. So looking forward to Sunday night show. If you're not checking out the site, make sure you go to www.the110nation.com. If you'd been over there, you would have known that Paul Zoda was on the show last night, and I want to thank him for thanking me for actually getting his name right. I was one of very few people he says got his last name right. But you would have known he was coming on the show talking about iRacing. You would have known Hannah was making a return tonight. Make sure you go over there, check it out. So you got the shows. You got the opportunity to check out what's going on, who we've had on the show, what's going on and everything like that. So make sure you guys check that out. If you're not like us on Facebook, go over and check out my fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. Also, the sports side and side of the house, 110 Nation Sports, or the radio side and guest side, 110 Nation Sports Radio. I want to thank everybody that has liked us over the last few days. I know a lot of our guests and affiliates of the guests, because I see who's friends of who have gone over and liked the fan pages. So I want to thank everybody as well. Got to thank everybody that is affiliated with the 110 Nation and the fans and the listeners. Once again, last week was another record-setting week. We're hoping this week is once again another, as every week since our return has gotten better every week. I want to thank everybody for making that possible. If you're interested in coming on the show, all you got to do is hit up Miss Lee. That's LEE_110nation@yahoo.com. If you're an athlete, part of some kind of athletic organization, some kind of team, it don't matter. Maybe you got a podcast or a blog and you want to come on and promote it and talk sports. Or maybe you got some kind of charity foundation or something going on. You'd like to come on and promote it. We'd love to have you on the show. Like I said, all you do is hit up Miss Lee. That is LEE_110nation@yahoo.com. Miss Lee, if we got anybody next week, shoot that over real quick while I'm doing this so I can put that out. I don't know if we had anybody scheduled for next week yet or not, other than Steve on Monday night and Izzo on Tuesday nights. I just want to be able to throw that out while I'm doing this. Also, interested to join the 110 Nation, all you got to do is hit me up, MrCJSports@gmail.com. Definitely looking forward to trying to find someone to host a show on Friday and Saturday nights. Those are the two nights that we have open. We would love to that's going to be on next week. I forgot. We do have the one of the developers or founders of the iRacing is one of the names that she's going to throw out. But just throw that to me so we know. What else was I going to say? Oh, interested to join the 110 Nation. All you got to do is hit me up, MrCJSports@gmail.com. Like I said, Friday, Saturday nights, we don't have a show. We'd love to have the opportunity to have a show 7 days a week. We'd love to get those filled. Also, if you want to co-host, come on. Maybe your expertise is in Major League Baseball, NFL, whatever the case is. Like we have Izzo on 30 minutes, 1 day a week. We would love to have the opportunity to bring you on and see what you got and see if we can make you a permanent fixture here at the 110 Nation. Like I said, all you do is hit me up, MrCJSports@gmail.com. We got Odo. He's Otto or Oso. It could be either way. From iRacing Company on Wednesday nights. Looking forward to getting to know even a little bit more about the iRacing. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to throw out there before we call it a night. I tell you what, it has been a great week. Having Paul on the show from the Southern Motorsports Racing League. He's a PR for iRacing for talking about Otto. Or Otto.
Is it Otto wrestling?
Shit, who knows?
I feel like it is. There's a road down the street, and it's spelled the same way, and it's pronounced Otto.
But I can't get them all right. I get complimented for getting one right, and Otto. But
it's okay. We all know you obviously can't pronounce anything correctly.
Anything. Can't pronounce anything there correctly. I'm fixing, even though it ain't broke, I'm fixing to do something. But anyway. Wow. Yeah. Definitely excited, had a great week. We had Paul on the show. If you missed that, all you got to do is check out us on Facebook. The links are on there. As a matter of fact, if you go over to www.the110nation.com tomorrow, that will be the show that automatically plays when you go over there. So you can catch it that way as well. It's the SoundCloud version, but they make it so it automatically plays as one of the options. So I had the last Racing with Big Sweat on there. I'm going to throw that one on there. We'll have that on a couple of days, and we'll rotate tonight's show on there. So you have an opportunity if you go over to www.the110nation.com. You can catch it that way. But I think that's about everything that I want to throw out there tonight. Like I said, tomorrow night, Racing with Big Sweat. The show kicks off at 9 o'clock. We got another great weekend of NASCAR coming up, so make sure you guys tune in for that. So we can, so you know what we're going to be talking about on Monday night when we got Steve Billmeyer on the show. Outside of that, we'll be working this weekend to hopefully
make more improvements to the play.
Definitely be working on trying to get some guests for next week's show, more guests as well. Definitely excited once again for Miss Lee. She will be out of Mid-Ohio in about 10 days for the Xfinity Series race. I hope they have a blast. I hope it's an experience of a lifetime for them. I know myself, getting able to do it, it was really cool and something I would never trade for the world. I learned a lot doing it, so hopefully they get as much out of it as I've gotten out of it every time that I've gotten to do it. I've learned something new every time, so it's really cool. But I definitely can't wait to be able to talk to them here in a few weekends about their experience and what they got to do. So cool with that. And
will Mr. Lee be on the show?
I don't know. Then hopefully one of them will come on the show. I don't know. If not, I'm sure she'll email me pictures and the experience they got. I know they have. They have where they stay at real bad cell phone service. She's wanted to come on the show many times, but their service where they're at is hit and miss, so that's why she has not been on regularly. She's been on a couple times, but I know that they have real bad reception problem where they stay at. So hopefully we'll be able to, through emails and stuff, be able to catch on to what happened and get to kind of experience what they experienced vicariously or whatever.
What?
You know how people say they lived through them vicariously or whatever?
No. I've never heard that thing.
Hey, you're a youngin'. But anyway.
The only vicarious I know of is completely not relevant to anything like that.
We know.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy yourself this week?
With
the show?
Oh, of course I did.
Learn some things?
I did. I learned that Miss TJ cannot pronounce names right. I got the one.
I got one.
Not vicarious. It's, what's that say? Vigorously?
It's vi. It's vicariously, but it's not pronounced bi. It's vi.
He said bi, though. You
well,
never said bi.
Bi?
No, they're not the same thing.
Bi? Actually, they're not.
Yeah.
But anyway, another week of experience underneath your belt. You ready for next week?
I'm getting there.
Getting there? Feel a little bit more comfortable. And it was about the hour point, because it was about 9:58 when it happened the last time. So it's about every hour my phone. I don't know. I need to look into this phone to see if there's a reason why that. I need to change something. It should not be shutting off every hour. But anyway, Larry says I got 90 seconds, so I'm going to get off here anyway. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night. Racing with Big Sweat Sunday night. Mr. CJ Sports Sunday Night Rant. Back on next week, Monday through Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. Check us on Facebook. Check us on Twitter. Check out the site, www.the110nation.com. Miss Lee will be talking to you after the show. Until tomorrow night, you guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you then. 60 seconds.
Okay, let's do this. Jog 3 miles before breakfast. Make it to work by 9. Run out for a salad at lunch. Ooh, time to own that meeting at 3. Yes, 10,000 steps. What's next?
Fearless is not hitting snooze. That's the power of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Federal Employee Program. With more healthy benefits and tools, no one does more to help you live fearless. Sign up at fepblue.org/action by December 14th.